What's going on, everybody? Tonight on Internet Land. Sorry, I'm turning my TV down. Now, I wonder. I didn't turn. Okay, I'm still here. I turned my Wi-Fi off. I'm going to use my cell phone service. Seems to work a little better. So, I mean, we are going to wing it tonight. No, we're not. We're going to work on tonight. It's a session 2. Block the light. Session 2, the second part of tuning your Goose Call, call tuning, whatever. But tonight we're going to work with the next generation line and our red, white, and blue guts. Definitely our more popular line, I would say, for the guy that knows how to call, a little bit more advanced guy, or a guy that's really looking for a goosey sound. So, I'm going to grab some calls here to tune, and we're going to see what we can end up with. Know what I mean? I'm just going to tune, well, that one's already tuned. I'm going to tune 2 orders here that got to go out. I was been saving these so I could do them from scratch for you guys, and do them right here. That way, this is live television, right? Live TV. If I mess up, then, oh well, those aren't the right size. Gotta get the right O-rings before I can do anything else. So, before I get started, I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic day. It's Tuesday. It's nice here in Minnesota. Nicer than it's been anyway. Yeah, hope everybody's having a good life and living their fullest. And I know a few of my friends are battling with some health issues right now and some depression issues, and I just hope it all gets better for you guys. Remember to keep God first, have faith, keep pushing on. And I wish I was good at taking my own advice, because we all have problems. Big Sean has way more problems than you guys would think. Being a small business owner, doing everything on my own here, paying the mortgage, all the hunting stuff. I mean, life's not easy sometimes, but we are very, very lucky to be alive here on earth. And God is good. Work hard, pray hard is what I always say. And got that there in my, it's backwards, I know, but laundry's done. Sound like a buzzer for the oven. Come on down, Bones. Come on down, bud. Come on. Bones wants to come hang out with us. Come on, buddy. Good boy. Get up there and lay down. Good boy. That's my boy. What's up, Charlie? So, I'm going to turn the phone. Let's see. Now, remember, I got to do this without turning it off. It's easier said than done, right? Why does that always do that? Whatever. Alright. What's up, Brian? Alright. Say a little prayer for me. I can do this without turning my phone off. Alright. Alright. Alrighty then. Look at this mess of crap we got here. So tonight, we're going to work with our blue tone board, which makes up our red, white, and blue guts. White being the reed, if you ain't figured that out. So, red, white, and blue. Yesterday we covered our original gray guts and how they work, and a couple pointers to tune those. Today, we're going to work on our advanced gut, which is by far my favorite gut. And this thing absolutely rocks, sounds like a goose. So like I did yesterday, I kind of took a Sharpie there, and everywhere that's black on this surface is where the reed hits, okay? So you understand how important it is to get the proper reed placement inside of there. This is not what the gut will look like. I just did it so you guys could have a little bit of a visual. The gut's going to look like this. It'll be a lot cleaner. But you can see where that reed rides down inside of there. So this here, everywhere it's black, that's where the reed rides down inside of there. So it's very finicky gut to tune a lot of times. But this thing is super, super goosey. This gut is molded off of another set of clucker guts I had. I used to contest call with for 15, 16 years. That's why it's got this groove so broke in. I blew this call, where it was in all my calls, actually, in my zinc calls and other calls I had. And so, I mean, it's like I've told you guys before, it's all about the internal components that make the call. And these guts right here are super special to me. The original ones I actually keep in my safe because they're just awesome. You don't just get guts like that. Now things have changed where you can mold them, but you still have something to mold them off of. And these are molded off my original clucker guts that are super broke in. These are probably twice as broken as the gray ones. Also, they're inlaid with rubber, like the gray ones are. I know you guys have seen that probably in my other videos. That's to dampen the sound a little bit. As you guys know, a goose's throat's not hard, so we slowly incorporate softer materials into that. And that's what this rubber does, is it kind of takes that crack out and makes it a goosier sound. Along with a super thin shaved reed and the broke-in tone trough, you're going to have a very, very goosey sound call. Pardon me. So, let's start from scratch again. I got to shave a couple reeds. So, for these calls, I'll do a half blood, and then I still got Glenn's Big Kahuna here. I've been waiting to send it out because I wanted to tune it live here. So I'm going to turn this around and shave a couple reeds so you guys can kind of see. No idea exactly what it really looks like, but where'd my stuff go? I gotta get my stuff here. And again, like I talked about yesterday, you can use anything that's around, any kind of a round cylinder to hold a reed, wherever you make up at home or whatever. It doesn't matter. I like to use something round, and again, we don't have a up and down side on our reeds, so you can flex them like this all you want. It's going to flex different ways every time, so that's just the way it is. Our reeds are flat, so, and they're both the same. Sorry, they're the same on each end. Where's my camera at? This side? They're the same cut on each side. So these are actually laser cut. We used to get them stamped out, but now we just have them laser cut, a lot cheaper, and we can do a lot more of them. So, again, I start shaving from about halfway. I just pick a halfway point this way. So I'll go through and do a steady shave, taking, parts or taking material off all the way across the back to, right about here. Focus, you piece of crap. And then the sides and the edges here, I'll hit a little bit more. I like to hit these edges, make them real thin, and then from here forward, the tip, basically here forward, I like to make real thin. You don't want to go too thin in the middle, because then the call doesn't work out too well. Like yesterday, I tried showing you this reed here. See how that reed is super thin in the middle? You can kind of see through it, that dark spot in the middle. That reed's toast. That reed will not work. So I'm going to shave a couple reeds here. Doesn't matter how you do it. You can use any kind of a knife. I like to use cheap razor knives because I like them super sharp. And if it's not sharp, I just toss it in the garbage. And they're only like 60 cents a piece or 50 cents a piece, so they're not. I don't toss them in the garbage. You can use them for cutting boxes or use them for other crap. But see how I'm going pretty thin on these edges, right? So I want the edges to almost be translucent, to where you can kind of just start seeing through the edges. That's how I like it for the next gen calls. See if that'll focus on there. You can see the edges are really, really, really thin. And then the tip, I'll make the tip pretty thin too, from here forward. It's hard to show on my phone here because I'm trying to get a good even shave on it, take off even material all the way across. But we're taking off a lot of material here, to be honest with you. So there's kind of see that's about perfect read for a next gen, or for the red, white, and blue guts. Not the next gens necessarily, but the red, white, and blue guts. So, put my hand behind it, maybe it'll focus better, but you can see there, it's pretty thin shaved reed. You can just start to see around the edges on here. So again, we'll take that. I'm gonna turn the phone back around. Where'd my, oh, here it is. So clean the edges up. A few of you guys watching on here, clean the edges up, doesn't matter what you use. Just get those burrs off the edge, it makes it look nice. I mean, if it's dirty looking, you got burrs on the sides like that, it's not really going to affect the sound of the call. Not enough to where anybody'd notice anyway. So I do it, make it look better. I like a good clean. When you guys get it in the mail, I want it to look nice and clean. I don't. The same thing with like duck reeds when they're cut. I can't stand it when you open a call up and the duck reeds have a crooked cut on there like a 4th grader did it. I like them to look nice. You're paying a lot for a call. I want it, you know, and that's a good looking shaved reed. It's good looking shaved reed, shaved evenly across the whole thing, and then the tips and the edges are shaved a little bit more. I mean, that's a clean looking, nice shaved reed. So, and a few people watching on here. So I'm going to take this reed, like I showed you yesterday, a couple little tricks I like to do. I like to knock off these edges, just because it helps it drop down that tone trough a little more. And when it goes inside of the of the insert, it's not as much pressure on it this way. I'm skinning it up a little bit, so it's less pressure. If not, it'll kind of, when you push it in, it pinches the reed, kind of gives it a little curve. You don't want it to pinch the reed. There's so many things tuning goose calls, little tiny things that can be done, tricks, whatever. I've been doing it for a long time, and I just know what to do. That's why I do it, and not a lot of other people can do it like I do it. That's just what I got going. So, like I told you guys yesterday, that reed has to just fall inside of that tone trough, right? This blue part is called the tone trough, tone channel, whatever you want to call it. Call it tone channel. So see how that reed's got to just fall inside of there. So when you put this together, if it's back like this, you're going to lose too much air. If it's hanging over, it's going to ground out, it's not going to work. So it needs to be just in there, so it falls down in there just like so. What's up, Chase? How's it going, buddy? So we have a red wedge. Now with these red wedges, they're oversized, so we gotta file them down a little bit. So I take, when I send them to you guys, they're not filed. So if you have a little file at home and say it's too tight in your call, it's not working, just get a file like this, file the flat surface of the wedge on the bottom, take a little bit of layer off of it. I'm trying to do everything left-handed so you can see it, but go back and forth, take a little layer off of it. There's lots of little tips and things you can do. Also on the top of the wedge, you can see that little bump there. That's a mold line from the original gut, or a mold, I don't know what you call it, a relief point from the mold. We like to take those, sand those down, just makes it go inside of the call, in and out. You can move it a little easier. If not, you got a sharp edge on there. So we like to file those down, make it smooth. Pretty much every set of gut has that. Since I've been tuning calls since back in 2001, I know of every wedge has had that. So now you have your gut system, your tone channel, your shave reed, and your wedge, right? So you go to put it in there. Ah, crap, that's pretty tight, right? Well, we want it pretty tight. We don't want it too tight to where it pinches the reed. So I'm gonna sand a little bit more off the bottom of this. I want a good fit in there. It's got to be snug. But we don't want it too snug. There's a fine line. So, try it again. Doesn't matter how you hold it. Find what's comfortable for you. Right about there. Feels good. That tip's hanging up obviously already. So, I'm going to get the call. I'm going to do a rough tune on it. It's going to be, I'm going to want it probably, finicky. I mean, this is, you want to tune your own calls or mess with your own calls, it takes time. This is why I've had 2 surgeries on both my wrists, because all this little back and forth and playing with my fingers and twisting and turning. It's hard on your joints and carpal tunnel and crap. All right, so here's a rough tune. All right, that's a rough tune. A lot of times I'll have Brennan, the busy season, I'll have him get a rough tune for me, and I'll go through and finish them. Because you pick the call up, you can't. It's not going to work because this end is sticking. Listen, you can hear that end sticking in there. So bring it up close to your face, find out exactly where it's sticking. Look real close in there. It's going to be hard here, but this is sticking right at the tip. So you go into your Sally Jesse beauty salon, hair supply, whatever crap you can get, nail files for your bunions on your feet, whatever the heck you got going on at home. I don't know, or your wife's got these things laying around. It really doesn't matter what you use. Heck, you could use a piece of sandpaper if you wanted to, but you just got to take some layers off. So you got to go to this end of this right here, and we got to knock this tip off here and take some off there so it quits catching in that tone trough. Not sure if my phone's vibrating or not. I get a couple phone calls coming in, but so now I'm pushing in there. It's not sticking, right? Okay, it's not sticking. There might be too much of a gap in there. Might have to scoot that reed forward just a little bit more, but let's try it. Let's put it together, blow it. Really good, right? It's really close. Maybe it's a little too deep. So what I'm going to do is, like I told you guys yesterday, basic rule of thumb, the more reed you have showing, the deeper and lower pitch it's going to be. The less reed you have showing, so this much, it's going to be high pitched and fast, a little louder maybe. When it's this much reed showing, more reed showing, it's going to be low pitch and deeper sounding. And it's just because it takes more air to drop down the tone trough. So I don't want it to be a lot higher pitch, just a little bit. So instead of me pulling it apart, I'm just going to push this down a little bit more, tighten that up a little bit more in there. And the tighter you push it in, it's going to bring the pitch up a little bit as well, because it all plays on how much tension is back here on the reed. So let's try this. That's like almost perfect right there. So that's a half blood right there, and it's basically perfect. Now, what I like to do with this is I'll send it out just like this. But if an average guy gets it and he starts blowing it and he's sticking it, he's putting too much air in it, sticks it a little bit. First of all, the reason it's sticking is because you're not opening your hand up enough. You're closing it down, creating that back pressure, and the reed's sticking. So if you have a problem with one of our calls sticking, or you think it's sticking, open your hands up. Let that sound come out. Quit constricting the sound. Second off, I used to do this with my contest call all the time. I don't do this when I send them out much, but if you're you blow a stiff call and you like it stiff, you can take this tip and just bend the tip up. You can take a knife, anything with a straight edge, and just bend that tip up. Try to hold see how I just bent that tip up? I'm talking a little bit, right? Just bend that tip up just a little bit, and that'll help with the sticking issue as well, if you're a hard blower. Now, the average guy likes an easy blow and call, and that's how we tune everything that leaves here. Oop, hear that catching? Catching just a little bit. So sometimes, see, all I did was just wiggle this just a little bit, and it quit catching. So a lot of times, not a lot, I've had several times, probably half dozen times last year, guys get these, the new red, white, and blue guts, and they're like, I think it's, I think it's catching. It's not, something's not quite right. I tell them, well, instead of sending it back to me and have to mess with it, just hold the call and take this blue tone channel and just jiggle it a little bit, back and forth, like sideways, and push down on that reed. And sometimes just a little slight movement back and forth will let that reed fall in there a little better. It might just barely be catching on the edge of that plastic, and that will kill your sound. It'll make it scratchy, and it'll flatten out on you. So, I mean, they're real finicky. You got to play with them a lot to get them exactly perfect. When I send them out, they're perfect. Now, during shipping, cold weather, they could move. Things happen. Sometimes it could move. Usually they don't. Usually they're pretty tight. I mean, that there is real tight. These are our new Delrin sleeves we're using, and all the next gen stuff. We were using aluminum, but now we're going with Delrin. It's just as tough as aluminum, and what was I gonna say? Oh, and it holds the guts better. So the main reason we did it is because it holds guts better. We're having some issues with the aluminum. When it gets real cold, the aluminum kind of opens up a little bit, and the guts were getting loose. So we're trying this for now, going with Delrin. Same thing we make our rookie edition calls with. Very, very tough. I mean, you can whack the stuff with a hammer. It's super tough material, and it tends to hold the guts better, holds them real tight. So that's this call right here. I'm going to turn this around real quick. Check, see what you guys going on. What's up, Brennan? So I got this call. So that call is ready to go. So what I'll do before I ship it out is, if I can remember, draw my lines on here, put a couple little rough tune lines on here in case you ever tear it apart or falls apart on you. Put a couple little black lines on there. For some reason I missed your call. When I get going real busy, sometimes I forget to do it. When you get the call, just put a little mark on there so you know where it's at. I try my best to remember all of them, but I can't remember what day it is half the time. And then I use this stuff right here, E6000. I don't have to. Like, these guts are in here tight, but I like to take a little bit of this stuff and put it right on where the guts go in. And I'll put a little dab there. Nobody else does this, and I've had a couple guys say, well, if it fit right, you shouldn't have to do that. They do fit right, but I'm just trying to ensure a little better fit. And if you guys are real rough on calls, or for some reason it shrinks, condenses, whatever, I just want to, make sure they're good. So I put that on there, take my finger across it, clean it up. It looks good and clean. It's not like it's a shitty look or nothing. So, focus, baby, focus. Come on. Come on with it, focus. This thing's gonna focus, or I'm gonna throw it. There it is. So you can see that little bit of wetness right there. That's just a little dab of the E6000 to hold it in there. And now if you ever want the guts come loose, all you do is push like this, and they'll be loose. This glue is not super glue. It's not going to hold and break your guts. Now, some of the first ones I did, I used super glue on, and that sucked because they broke and it wasn't working. But this new stuff I'm using is better. It just kind of helps hold the guts secure in place. So this call is ready to go out. We're going to let this dry, and that thing's ready to rock. Any questions so far? What's up, Justin? 46 people watching. No, it's a little early. Just so you know, tomorrow we're going to go live. I'm going to do a little quick tuning session tomorrow, and then we're going to come back on live at 8 o'clock for our normal one-on-one Q&A stuff. So, like I told you guys yesterday and explained to you a little bit, tuning a call and having the right tune on the call is extremely important. And that is 100%. Glenn, I got yours right here. I was just telling everybody I've been saving yours because I want to tune it live tonight. Tuning the call, and the tune that's on your call is by far the most important part of a call. So if a guy gets a call and he picks it up, he's going to like it or not like it, depending on how it's tuned, if it's tuned good. If it's easy to blow, it's got good sound, etc. So it is 100% the most important part of call making, manufacturing, selling calls, whatever it is. And that's my personal promise to all of you guys, that I will tune every call that leaves this place. Every friggin' call that leaves here, I tune. Now, sometimes Brennan will rough tune them. Sometimes Brennan shaves some reeds for me, helps me out. But these things are tuned. And that's why it drives me bonkers to see all these call companies. And there's a lot of them, and that's fine. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. They want to make a living at it and do what they love. Totally cool. I don't get mad at anybody for doing what they love to do. It's great. But when you see all these companies on social media and whatever posting sound files of them and their calls, these guys can't even blow their calls. How can they tune their own calls, and if they can't even blow a call? So there's not tons, but I mean there's a good steady handful of call makers out there that make calls, and they can't even blow the damn things. It's amazing. So it's like, you're like, how can you sell that thing, or get it tuned right for an average customer or a guy blowing a call? I mean, you can't even blow it yourself. That drives me bonkers. So be careful who you buy from. If you're buying a call from somebody, make sure that they know how to operate it, and they have good sound files. Therefore, they know how to tune it. And that's what I've told you guys at home that have calls. The more you play with your calls, the more you tune them, the better caller you're going to be, and because you're going to understand how you call and what your style is. So the better I am at tuning calls and putting them together, it makes me a better caller as well. So I'm going to check some questions here real quick. What's the best correct way to take out stock guts? Let's see. Whoa! I got here's our rookie edition Big Kahuna, right? So you can take it and put it on a table and push it, or you can just go like this right here. As long as it's a whatever, the wedge is designed to be a wedge, of course. So it's got a thicker end and a thinner end. So when you push in like that, they're gonna go flat and they'll fall right out the bottom. Okay, that's how you take them out. Ain't nothing to it. If they're really in there good, you can hit it on a table. But don't take them and just twist them, because a lot of times you can snap that tone board, and then you're screwed, right? So push them in, and then you can pull them out, or push them in all the way through the insert and let them come out the bottom. That's the correct way to do it. All the guts that I know of are basically the same. They have a wedge, and anytime you have a wedge, you have a small end and a big end. Let's see. No problem, guys. Thanks for doing these videos. Best video. Justin, yeah, I'm trying. I want everybody to get the point, because I don't think everybody needs to send their calls to me all the time to get them retuned. I got no problem tuning them, and I don't make any money on them. I do it as a courtesy for you guys to put them together, and all I make is just enough money to cover the shipping back to you. But if you guys are diehard, like you're the diehard guys, you're the hardcore waterfowlers out there, and you should know how to tune your own calls. You should know how to manipulate the sounds and get certain sounds you're looking for. And the only way to do that is do it. Play with it over and over and over. And screw reeds up and toss them. Throw them in the garbage. Just so you guys know, on the website too, I made a change today. You can pick your reeds you want now for goose reeds. You can get a very thin shaved reed for like a Mr. Big 2 or a Triad Killer, which we're going to cover tomorrow. You can get a thin shaved reed for the red, white, and blue guts, like we're covering right now, or you can get a medium shaved reed for the original guts. And also you can get like a pack of 10 reeds for $10. That way you can shave them your own. If you screw it up, toss it. But you gotta, it's trial and error. Like anything else in this life, you gotta try it, screw a few up to understand what it consists of and how it works. What's up, Moses? Talk with Cody was a big help on my questions. I ordered a couple calls. Can't wait to get them and get started. Cool, Dennis. I'm still telling people 4 weeks out on everything, just because that's just how we roll. Sometimes in the fall I can get 6 weeks. I try not to, but I am so picky and finicky when it comes to tuning a call. It sets me back. It puts me behind when I have a lot of calls going on. I want these things to be as perfect as they can be, and sometimes, like that one I just tuned for you guys, went together nice and smooth, real easy, no problem at all. But sometimes, man, like for some reason there's a burr in the gut from the mold or something that's hanging up. You just gotta put them down, start all over, and go from there. So, real quick, I'm gonna tune Glenn's Big Kahuna here. He's on here watching. He's one of our good customers. So, I'm gonna turn this around. I'm gonna turn this like this. I'm gonna shave a reed quick for Glenn's call. I don't know what that's doing that for, but tripod's going goofy on me. Anyway, I'm gonna shave this real quick. So again, doesn't matter what's top or bottom. Each side of our reeds are the same. So put it in here. I'm not gonna cover too much on tuning or on shaving the reed. Each reed I shave is different. So If you order reeds from me, each one will be shaved a little bit different now, depending on which one you order. I used to just do a shaved reed, but the problem with that is the shaved reed that I put in a big kahuna with gray guts is totally different than a shaved reed I put in a Mr. Big with red, white, and blue guts. So you guys can kind of pick and choose a little easier now. Or you can just send it back to me and I can do it myself. So again, I like to do more on these edges. I like to make the edges where they just start to get translucent. And then this tip right here is where all your sound's going to be on these broken guts. Okay. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's hard to do on the phone, but that's just the way we roll, boys. That's just the way we roll. Got this. If you've seen the system I had here, I got a selfie stick. You don't want to know. I got a selfie stick and a tripod, and it's just, it's stupid. Hey, I don't have all that fancy crap. What's that you're using to shave it? Yeah, Cody is awesome. Craig, he's best customer service guy God's ever created. I just use a cheap razor knife. You can use like any kind of a carving knife. I know some guys that just use pocket knives. Anything to take layers off this Mylar is all you're doing. You just want to thin it up, make it a little different. So again, clean it up. However you want to clean it up. Just get those burrs off there so it looks pretty. Glenn, I think you ordered red, white, and blue guts. I better check real quick though. Glenn, red, white, and blue guts. Okay, just making sure here. So, and then, like I told you, I got little tricks I do to make them fit better. So if you want to send them to me, I'll gladly tune them for you. No problem. I've tuned so many of them, it kind of gets to a point after a while. Most of them go together pretty easy for me. And if you guys get frustrated with it and you just can't figure it out, send it to me. I can take care of it. Or see me at a show, and of course it's free at a show because we don't have to worry about shipping or nothing like that. So again, there's the basic rough shaved reed. Focus, jerk. Good looking reed, shaved nice and purty. Now we know ahead of time that this tip's going to be a little too long. We just use a standard generic laser cut reed that a lot of other guys use too. So each reed we have to customize ourselves and make it to fit in our tone trough a lot better. Alright, I'm trying to answer questions as I go here, guys. Okay, so same thing. So I got my red wedge here. I'm going to do a rough tune here. I always knock this off the little mold line here so it slides in and out a little easier. Almost every set of guts you're going to get is going to have that little bit of a mold line or that mold bubble there. It's not a big deal. It just helps it fit together a little smoother. So we do this. Yeah, it's pretty tight, okay? Let me get a rough tune here. It's pretty tight. I'm going to have to take a little bit off the bottom of that. So like I showed you guys earlier, I'm going to take a little bit, try to do this left-handed so you can see. You can use any kind of file, whatever. Go back and forth, spin it around. Take a little bit off there so it, you know, it's not as tight, and you can drop down there a little bit lower. All right. Glenn, this is your call, buddy. This is getting special treatment here. Gun, Delrin O-ring adapter. So let's do a rough tune on it. You can grab it with your thumb and your forefinger, whatever's comfortable for you. The only way you're going to do it, figure it out, is by doing it and doing it often. So there's a rough tune. I know about where the reed wants to be, you know, I know about where that wedge needs to be. Just looking at that right there, I can tell you that it's too long. So there's, pardon me, there's too much reed showing. Now if I go like, whoops, live TV, almost dropped my wedge here, hold on. Now if I go like this, it's so hard to do this with a phone and everything else. If I go like that, the reed's too short. There's too short of a reed set. That's more like how you tune a Mr. Big. So there's a happy medium with the big kahuna where you need to be. And oops, see how that's catching in there? Oh yeah. Almost all of them are going to do that right off the bat. You got to take a little bit off the tip of the reeds. I do anyway, to make them fit better. You don't have to. It would still work, but it just wouldn't be that good. So there's a rough tune about how we would start, right? But obviously you can see the tips catching. So we're going to do like we did before. Let me grab a drink of my water. It's delicious water. It's not water. But again, take some off this tip, because that tip right there is where it's catching. It's catching down inside there. You don't want that. You hear that clicking. So take a little bit off the tip. Do whatever you got to do just to take a tiny bit off there. Don't go too much. So do it and then check as you go. You don't want to do too much, because then you go too much and then you got way too big of a gap there. Okay, it's not catching. So I like to take this underneath as well, clean the bottom up. You don't have to. It doesn't really affect the sound much, but like I say, I like to clean them up. So that now you push it down in there, and you can hear it's not sticking now, right? But the question is that gap at the end a little too much? Are we going to be losing air? So we'll blow it quick, get a little test of it. Okay, it's a little too hard to blow, and it's a little too deep. So we're going to tighten this up, and we're going to take basically the reed and the tone trough. We're going to hold it together so it's like one piece, and then we can adjust. You want to adjust the wedge. So if the wedge comes up this way, it's going to make a higher pitch because it's going to be a shorter reed set. If the wedge goes down this way, it's going to be deeper and lower. So I'm just going to take it and just push just a little bit like that, so it's a shorter reed set. You can see that end's just catching again. So, but it looks good on the edges, right? So it's got to look good on the edges. It's got to fit down in that little groove I showed you guys earlier, but it can't catch the tip. So this looks really nice on the edges. It fits perfect side to side, but that tip is still catching. So see what I just did? I just barely touched that and the reed popped out. Sometimes the tone trough is just real finicky, and you just touch it, move it, jiggle it just a little bit, and that thing will pop right out, and the call's perfect. The other load of laundry is done. Sorry, you guys, you get to hear my washer and dryer run. So now it's not catching. Now it still looks pretty good on the edge. Jiggle it around. Gotta be patient with it. Get it pretty close. So there, it looks pretty good. Feels good. See those burrs around the edge of the reed? A lot of guys freak out about that. That's not going to mess up any kind of sound at all. Nothing. Just so you know. So now it's a little too high pitched. So I pushed the reed, or I pushed it too tight, and there's not enough reed showing. Bones, what's wrong with you over there, son? Whoa. Bones is over there taking deep breaths. I was gonna show you guys Bones. What are you doing over there, boy? Say hi to the internet land. He's like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to talk to you guys. So I'm gonna, best thing to do is just pop it down like these here. You push down and it gets caught in the rivet, so it doesn't go all the way through. So you push down and then you can just pull them right out. Okay, so these ones are a little different, but while I got it out, I'm gonna clean up that tip a little bit for Glenn. Make sure it's nice and purty. Okay, and then we're gonna put it in there, do a little rough set. Sometimes tuning a call can take way too long. Sometimes you go back and forth, but I'm doing this on my phone and on camera, so it's taking me a while. So I'll take it apart. I know where it needs to be just by the way it blows and the way it sounds. So I'll adjust it, jiggle this tone trough a little bit. Still catching. Jiggle that tone trough, keep pushing it in there. Okay, it's not catching now. Tighten her up. really close. So here's a very tiny tip for you guys. See if you can see this and figure it out. So look at this reed. What is wrong with this situation? Might be hard to tell the lighting. It's perfect on this edge right here. See, it's just tight right there. It drops down there. But on that side right there, it's got a little bit too much of a gap right there. We're losing a little bit of air, and it's not quite tight enough right there. So that edge is, you're not going to get the crisp sound that you want out of it. So what you can do, might be hard to show on the phone, is literally just take it and push that tone trough over and jiggle it just a little bit. Okay, so now it's better on side to side. Just jiggle it back and forth. Okay, it's better on side to side, but that tip's still catching. So alright, so it looks good on side to side. Let's take a little bit more off that tip now that where'd my part go? Now that we've got it looking perfect, perfect side to side, let's take a little bit off this tip again. Yes, I do this to every call. This is why it takes me a long time, but this is the most important part to making calls, getting them out to you guys to where they blow good. Okay, now it's not sticking. I'll put it underneath there, clean it up a little bit. I bet this thing right now will be really close to perfect. Now me, being super picky, I still feel like it's losing a little air. So I'm going to tighten that reed up in the tone trough area a little bit more. And I don't think it's quite easy enough to blow, so I'm going to take a little bit more off the tip. So I'm going to get my shaving stuff, and I'm going to shave a little bit more off this tip. I'm not going to show it on the phone because it takes too long. Take a little bit more off this tip there so it's a little easier to blow. Can't tell, I'm sure, because it's a phone, but alright. Now we're gonna, oh man, I just lost my wedge. Stand by! Live TV, I gotta get my wedge that ended up way the hell over here. Ooh! It's gonna be a long one, but this is the most important tuning video that I'll do all week, I guarantee you that. These guts are the best, or the most finicky. Alright. So, do a rough tune. Get it side to side, get so it doesn't catch in the end. Just about the right reed length, because I know what it's supposed to look like. That's about the distance we're looking for in a big kahuna. Tighten it up, blow it. A little too deep, so make the reed set a little bit shorter. Push it in, and that's catching. Do a little jiggle jiggle. So that is just about perfect. I mean, it's off just a little bit, and that's just part of tuning calls. So it's hard to do trying to show you guys on my phone and tune it. Never had to do that before. It's a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But I'll sit right here on a little stool or my chair, and I mean, I'll put this thing right up to my face. It's got to be perfect. And that's not. See, with that, it means the reed's too far up. It's catching. And you can hear it catching. You don't want that either, boys. You don't want. See how that notorious BIG half blow I did earlier tuned up perfect? No problem, super easy. See, and as soon as I say that, this one's perfect now. So every call is going to be a little different. When are you going to have the barrel stickers for sale? I don't know. Sometime this summer. I talked to my decal guy yesterday, and he said he can do them, no problem. So Glenn, this call is pretty much perfect and ready for you. All right, any questions? Let's see what you guys got going here. Don't know why you think you're not a good teacher. Yeah. I'm my own worst critic. That's just the way it goes. Even shave across whole reed. How thick is the mylar? Do you do a show? I don't do any shows anymore except around here. How do you use the rounded surface? I use a rounded surface just because you can manipulate the reed side to side and shave certain parts of the reed easier than if it was just on a flat surface. You can do it on a flat surface, but you're not going to be able to dictate exactly what part of the reed you're shaving more off of and not. So, and I'm real picky when it comes to shaving the reeds. So I like to use a round surface because I like to pick certain parts of the reeds that I want shaved. Because I like to shave the edges and the tip more. That's my style, and that's how I tune them here. Any Canadian retailers? Nope. No Canadian. I have no retailers in Canada or the United States anymore. Everything is direct through our website. No more dealers of any sort, bud. Everything is direct through us. www.bigseanscalls.com. You can run you get lots of different promo codes, save you some bucks. No more dealers. Just because. Don't need them. They were good for a while, and they really helped us out as a company, and we really appreciate them. The guys that sold our calls for us, but times change, things change, and oh, no more dealers. You ever jack around with bends in your reeds? What do you mean, Jason? Like bending the tip? I showed a little bit of that earlier. Try not to too much. It's gonna make it a little stiffer. When I just send a call out to an average customer, I don't bend the reed. But if it's a guy blows a call at a show and he's blowing it too hard and he's sticking it or whatever, you can bend that tip up. Yeah, that prevent it from sticking and locking up. But I still think it's better to learn how to blow the call correctly, control your air, and quit blowing it so hard. All our calls are easy to blow. And because when you're out there hunting, who wants a call that's hard to blow? You want something that's easy and doesn't take a lot of air. You gonna be at the show in Twin Cities, Minnesota? I don't know, bud. The only show we do in summertime is Game Fair in August, and that's Anoka, which is basically the Twin Cities. So there's your call, Glenn. I will put it in the outgoing box now. It's got the Delrin insert on it. Sorry it took so long. I just wanted to do it live on TV for you. You're not going goose hunting anyway. You got to work on patience. You don't need it right now. Anyway, so any more questions? That's kind of a quick rundown on the red, white, and blue guts and how I like to tune them, shave the reed. Hopefully this helps you guys out a little bit. It's very important. Now, some calls you might get don't have a shaved reed. That's fine. They might blow and operate pretty good. But I think that's just usually when a call comes without a shaved reed, it's mass produced and they're shipping out hundreds or thousands of them, and they don't want to take the time to actually hand tune each one of them meticulously and get it perfect. They just put a reed in it, blow it. If it works and makes noise, they put it in the box and ship it. And that's what a lot of companies do. You know, that's okay. But there's a lot of us other smaller companies out there that do this. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that does this tedious stuff and makes them perfect. I'm sure there's other call makers out there that do the same thing. You know, when you get the call in the mail, you know, we want you to pick it up and blow it and go like, holy mackerel, that thing's perfect. That thing's so easy to blow. It sounds awesome. That's the reaction we want you guys to have. Well, me anyway. So I won't send a call out unless I'd put it on my lanyard and hunt with it. That's just the way it is. Any other questions on here? We'll go through and make sure I didn't miss any questions. Yeah, barrel stickers. Cover that one. Okay, cover that one. Why do you use around? Cover that one. Just look. Okay, Dr. Cody. Okay, all right. Yeah, look good here. Looking good. Shibadoo, shabadoo. All right. I think I got everybody covered. Is that the original Big Kahuna? No, this is the next gen. This is the next gen material. Big Kahuna with the red, white, and blue guts. This is my personal favorite call. It's, in my opinion, the most goosey sounding. It's what's on my lanyard. Well, I got one of these and Mr. Big and Notorious on there. But this is the call, my go-to call, what I use. Got the good, hollow, deep sound of a large, big old Canada goose. This is my favorite. What call do you have for a beginner? You're talking Goose Call. I would suggest either an original Big Kahuna, either acrylic or wood, or the Rookie Edition Big Kahuna, which is made out of Delrin. It's a little bit cheaper. Just comes in one color, and it has stock guts in it. So, in a thin shaved reed, so it's like super easy to blow. If you already know how to blow a call and you can make it break over, I wouldn't get the Rookie Edition because it's going to be too easy for you. It's going to blow like super easy. The Rookie Edition is really for somebody who's learning how to call and just getting into it. It's really, really, really easy to blow, as in the amount of air it takes. Still technique. You got to have the right technique, and you can go back and watch all of our other videos to work on that technique. So would you not be upset if you shaved an extra reed from? Yeah, Glenn, I'll throw a few in there for you if you want to mess with it. I'll do some thin ones in there. Yep. But if you're a beginner, you can go with the Rookie Edition Big Kahuna. It's really, really easy. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get off here. Thanks a bunch for hanging out tonight. Hope this helps, and you can, if you are that guy that wants to tune your calls, mess with your calls, hopefully this is something that'll get you going. If you get one of our calls, hopefully you kind of understand where everything's sitting, and you get the components of the call, and you kind of understand how important the tuning is. It's all about the tuning. There's a ton of call makers out there. People make lots of great calls that replicate geese. But to sound exactly like a goose and have a call that's easy to blow and operate, it's all about who's tuning it and the final tune job before it gets shipped out to you guys. So, hope everybody has a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow. We'll do a quick tuning session on Mr. Big 2s and Triad Killers, a super, super, super thin shaved reed. And then we'll come back for the regular Q&A at 8 o'clock like we always do. So, again, have a good night. God is good. Work hard. Pray hard. See you guys on the flip side, yo.